Thank you. Again, I've been thinking about you for 6 months. It's creepy, I know. I know I went over. Are there any questions? If not, we're going to be hanging out in the back, and we'd love to talk with you. But I'll hand it over to Holly and Miss Karen. I'm going to sit down for a minute and breathe.
We're giving you guys an opportunity to ask questions. So we have microphones, so we can make sure everybody can hear. Holly and I will make our way around. If you have questions for her, just raise your hand.
And if you haven't read the book yet, I am an open book, so no question is off limits. Is it too journalistic of me that I wrote my own questions?
If there's a word that we have,
I got options.
Wait, we got one too.
Oh, we got a question.
Okay, in your current position, what is the one thing that you would have told yourself for your past position?
Oh, the one thing I would tell myself in the past positions. I love it because it's what I need to hear right now. You're going to be fine. You're going to be fine. And if you can't screw up, and if you screw up, it's fine. I was in the men's room, took a break during the last speaker because the women's room was being cleaned. So I went to the men's room, and it was quiet in there. And I was sitting down in the men's room, and I was like, all right, God, Spirit, anyone listening, I'm nervous. Will you be with me? And immediately the answer in my mind is, why would we leave now? We've been here this whole time. And then the next thing was, well, what if the tech doesn't work? Like, what if Paige Park's video freezes? And the answer was, even if it doesn't work, it's still gonna work. I think it is to worry less, because that worry and that stress, it stays in our body. For me, it stays in my hips, so when my hips get sore and tired, I'm like, all right, I gotta stop worrying because I feel it, and there are effects from stress. So it would be not to worry. Great question.
We've got a little here.
We're so impressed with you. What are your future plans?
Oh, I want to know that too. I have no idea. And my husband is such a godsend because now we know to stay light. I've been too afraid to buy a house, even though Granbury is calling my name. I could just live right over there. I'm like, maybe we can live here and then have an RV and go back and forth. So I work in 2-year contracts. I have another year with Texas Today, unless something crazy happens, which can happen too. This is my first time really speaking in this way. But I was in a yoga class months ago, and I've noticed that sometimes I'll get a strong advice for someone in my mind. I'm like, oh, I'm going to tell them all these things. But then I realized that advice is for me. And this advice was for me to tell somebody else, it's time to speak. And I was like, oh, crap. What if that's for me? And wouldn't you know, I got an email saying, or a Facebook message saying, hey, we have this wonderful event coming up in Granbury. Would you be interested in speaking? So I have no idea. I'll be at Texas Today until they don't need me anymore. And now we have a book published. Our movie we have a distributor who's working on getting it on the internet somewhere, but we have DVDs, and we're just kind of living and wondering and looking for signs. Wish I had a better answer. I have no idea. Oh, Peter just gave me the walk sign. Thank you, Peter. We are researching other pilgrimages, because one pilgrimage, man, if we felt a calling of anything, it's just how much we love that. The next one is walking in the footsteps of St. Francis. He walked from Assisi to where he lived to Rome to basically ask permission from the Pope to continue loving God. So we would like to do it, to start in Rome and walk back to Assisi and then spend the rest of our time there. I'm just going to declare it carefully to the universe. That would be our next one. There's also a pilgrimage in Japan, walking around Shikoku. You get a 90-day tourist visa, and the goal is to walk to the 88 temples around the island. And people there see it as a blessing to take care of a pilgrim. So even if you don't speak the language, you still get invited into people's homes, their kitchen, and get to experience humanity with someone you might not even have a few words in common with. And I thought, whoa, wouldn't that be a challenge, but a beautiful gift at the same time.
Okay, we have a question over here.
Oh, fun.
Hi.
Hi.
Thank you so much for being here. I wanted to ask, when you finally let go and say, God, it's not my life, it's yours.
Yeah.
How, I'm part of the whole purpose-driven life there, which we're in this church and all. What did you feel, or, I know that God speaks to us in different ways, whether it be audible or visions and dreams and whatnot. How did you know it was your purpose that's where God was leading you to go?
Yeah. The biggest shift for me immediately after that was I got some great advice about that I didn't work for my boss in the newsroom. I didn't work for the producers. I wasn't creating content to make them happy. I work for God. So it completely shifted how I look at my job, as seeing it as service. So if I have a coworker who might be above me and not appreciate what I do, I'm not going to mail it in like, ha, take that, I mailed it in. Everything I did was now for God. And in the journal, I kind of wrote it as a love letter to God, explaining to him what's happened, as if he didn't know. Like, hey, this happened, and then this happened, and as I write, it's kind of like my way of communing with him. I write, and even if I have questions, and sometimes they're strongly worded questions, like, why did such and such happen? Why did you give me this person in this role in my life? And usually the answer comes like immediately. So it's really just lots of tiny little motions, lots of tiny decisions of trying to have that in mind, that one, I'm not working for God, and two, to just continue trying to commune. And what helps me and what has helped me amplify prayers and anytime I'm in need of connection was a sacrifice in some way. I'm not talking about like a sacrifice. Like at first, when I knew I was ready to leave Tulsa because I felt like I had learned everything I could in that environment, but I didn't know how to get to the next move in my career. And so I gave up drinking. I was like, all right, God, I'm going to give you this thing that I love and that I depend on, but it's also a wild card that will lead me to my downfall and me ruining my own life. I give this to you for 6 months. And in exchange for that sacrifice, I ask for clarity to help me make this decision. Where do I go next? And in that 6 months, the blessings were so abundant that it'll be 7 years in January I've been sober. Not saying anyone else has to quit drinking, but for me. And if you really want to feel unsettled, I gave up coffee. Oh, so hard. So hard. I don't suggest it. I don't want you all to turn on me because there's more of you than me. But man, because I got to a point where if I needed help making a decision, I needed to know it was divine and it was my intuition, not my latte. But God, quitting coffee was way harder than anything else. Just leave it at that. Anything else? Oh, yay, up front. Hi.
Hi. Is there somewhere that you have logged, other than your book, the places you went to and that you stayed and like the ashram information?
Oh, that's a really good point. In the book, there are some details, but if you're ever curious, the question was, have I logged all the details about where we went and where we stayed? But if you're interested in doing something similar, like find me on Facebook or Instagram or the Twitter, not the TikTok.
Yeah.
That's too hard. And we'd be more than happy to figure out what we did and guide you in any way.
Is your YouTube video up?
Yes and no.
Okay.
Mostly no. So we put the movie out on YouTube, and then when we had partnered with a distributor, he was like, take it off YouTube. So we have it as an unlisted link, but we do have DVDs, and I'm such a horrible salesperson. So, yes.
She
she actually has a movie for sale back there, and you can either purchase it on DVD or purchase it through a QR code, which takes you to
You're so funny. You caught me earlier because I'm like, oh, I don't like selling. I just want people to take it. So yes, my sales rep, I am selling DVDs. And if you would like to watch it virtually via YouTube on this unlisted link, that is available for purchase. But honestly, if you want to just take it because I can't sell anything. I can't do it. It makes me so uncomfortable. Ugh, it's hard. So that's why Peter's in charge of the money. Because I'm like, I don't know.
Now, if you buy DVDs or a QR code, you can watch it both ways.
Yes, if you buy a DVD, you also get the QR code, and then you can watch it forever and share it with like anybody you know. And even if you put it on Facebook, like I never even know. That's how you scam a non-scammer. I told you I'm not good at sales. I know. I'm going to give the microphone up before I lose all my money. Thank you all from the bottom of my heart. So fun. Thank you.